What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Now, it was huge news at the end of last year when we found out Marvel Studios would start taking pitches from writers for their upcoming X-Men reboot, and right on time earlier this year, it was revealed that Michael Leslie would actually have duties in writing that. Now, we talked about the pre-development timetable as we got scoops in the last couple of months for casting for Marvel Studios for X-Men, like the most recent one for Jean Grey, and how, well, the casting for that X-Men team is quite a ways off because they're still working on the script and don't have a director attached. But that's where we pick up today from the most trusted industry insider source with two huge details about the X-Men reboot. And guys, it looks like things are moving rather fast as reportedly Marvel Studios is now looking for a director. We're going to break down this latest report, try to add some context to it, and talk about the director picks that make sense for Marvel. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button, we do daily Marvel content at the channel. That's all we do. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the sub button, leave a comment down below. That'll automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway, which will be at the end of this week for the finale of What If Season 3. Again, all you gotta do be a sub, leave a comment. If you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so this latest update comes from none other than Daniel Rickman. You guessed it. You guys can follow him over on Twitter at RPK News. He's issued a ton of Marvel and Star Wars updates over the last couple of days, including some brand new details for the X-Men reboot at Marvel. He says, quote, "I hear they are currently looking for the director for the X-Men reboot and that it will definitely be set after Secret Wars." Now, being set after Secret Wars, although it's now confirmed from industry insider Daniel RPK, is not a shocker. Again, we used to talk about this in speculation about the timetable. If they're only just now working on the script and with the two Avengers movies in front of them, there was probably no shot they were filming this before 2026 anyway, which would mean it would be post-Avengers Secret Wars release. This is just confirming it. Huge news, however, that they're looking for a director. I mean, it's exciting in and of itself, and we'll talk about some possible names and what Marvel Studios has been doing over the last 2 or 3 years that I think that they drastically need to change. But before we get into all that, you can read between the lines a little bit. If they're already looking for a director, that means that the writing of the script has gone well enough that no matter what iteration or draft they're in now and how much it may change between now filming and the final product, that they have the bones of the story, something that Marvel Studios is apparently happy with, because if they didn't, they would still be drafting the script until they got there before they would pitch a director. And while yes, this is the normal course for things, it's great news because we've seen projects, important projects, like Blade or even Fantastic Four go through some extreme rewrites and more than you'd expect. For instance, Fantastic Four was on its 4th writer at last report, and Blade's now on its 6th, maybe going on to its 7th writer, and to get that film done. So I think what's going on with Marvel is that they understand that part of their new QC process means that you don't push things forward until they're ready, and it also means that they need to have the story right before they do anything else, and that's not an automatic process. It may be for other movies that are developed as one-offs or part of a trilogy because there's a plan there, but for Marvel, they have so many possible titles. Look, we even heard from Ryan Reynolds. We'll also get into some Deadpool and Wolverine news in the same update in a second, but we even heard from Ryan Reynolds that he did multiple pitches to Kevin Feige for what Deadpool and Wolverine could be. It wasn't until that last pitch where Wolverine signed on with Hugh Jackman that they gave him the green light. So it's not an automatic that, hey, we're writing the script for the X-Men. If they didn't like what Michael Leslie had done, he'd either still be writing new drafts or they'd be looking for new writers to take the script to a new place. So this is all good news because in a place where Marvel has been stubbing their toe and getting held up, it looks like they've gone through that process, and hats off to Michael Leslie for whatever he pulled together, again, as the brass tacks for the story that moved it into this next phase and them looking for a director. Now, what I just mentioned moments ago about what I think Marvel needs to change has been their basic MO for the directors they've used for their films, where it's basically been one of two choices. Number one, they hire someone that has very little experience, either in the superhero genre or in Hollywood at all, and they use a rather unknown commodity as a director to give them a chance to direct the film. That's happened for most of the movies. Outside of, say, Eternals, where they hired Chloe Zhao, most of the directors in Phase 4, especially on the television shows, but for the movies, have been some relative unknowns. And the other way they've gone about this is hiring directors that they've already had in-house to do future projects. For Fantastic Four, they hired Matt Shakman, who did WandaVision. For Spider-Man, even though that's with Sony, they hired Destin Daniel Cretton, who already did Shang-Chi. That kind of thing. They just brought the Russos back to do the 2 Avengers films. But this is the X-Men that we're talking about. This is like some sacred ground. This is some really different stuff, and in the unique position of having to basically be the flag bearer of what's coming for this new phase after what's going to be a huge pinnacle event in Avengers Secret Wars, something that the cinematic fandom's been looking to for 20 years. So I think there's too much on the line here to go with an unknown commodity, and I'm not sure that Marvel can stick with just rehashing one of the directors they've already used, or I think more specifically what I would say is I'm not sure that the right director for the X-Men film is already in-house at Marvel and done something recently where you would look at it and say, hey, you know what? This is the person who should direct X-Men. Now, from a director's point of view, working with Marvel has become quite a, well, I should say there's some stigma with it because they understand that A, you've got to make a movie that's going to be part of the machine, and B, you may be subject to tons of rewrites and or movie by committee that some of these directors just aren't willing to do, especially if they're a more established director in their career. They're going to want the kind of control that maybe, say, Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige don't want to relinquish. And I think that's why in the past Marvel has gone one of these two ways. They either hire an unknown commodity that they know will probably just play ball because of the opportunity that this presents, or go with someone in-house because they know that they can work with them to get a product that everybody is happy with. So I think this is one instance where Marvel is going to have to basically go outside of their comfort zone and pick a name that can handle this movie and bring their own artistic vision and flair and be a known commodity, someone that they can trust, say, hey, look at their film cinema catalog and be like, this is the right guy to direct X-Men. But who is that? Now look, I am totally self-aware here that it's pretty easy for people like me who sort of get a bird's eye view and from the fandom to just come on here and say whatever I want about what Marvel Studios should and shouldn't do with absolutely zero money on the line or skin in the game, so to speak. And so in that respect, I actually took a couple of days since this update to think about who in the world would I hire to direct the Marvel X-Men reboot if it were up to me, and actually offer a name up instead of just saying, well, they shouldn't do what they've been doing. They should get a huge name, knowing damn well that a lot of huge names in Hollywood are not going to sign on to direct the X-Men reboot. And Rebel Moon withstanding, regardless of how many comments I'm going to get saying this is absolutely the wrong pick, just based on his work on Justice League, I have to think a Zack Snyder take on X-Men might be absolutely insane, with some sweeping cinematic scenes and maybe something more akin to what the X-Men used to be. I'm not saying do a vintage movie, not in any regards. They're doing that with Fantastic Four, but just capture some of the classic X-Men, maybe even go with those original classic X-Men costumes for that first iteration. And I doubt that's what they're going to do. And I even doubt that Zack Snyder would want to come back and do that. And on top of that, guys, don't worry if you don't like that pick, because I've got absolutely nothing to do with it, so no one cares about my opinion for that. But it is hard to come up with names of people who, A, are established enough that you'd want to hire them, but B, would be interested in working with Marvel on X-Men, and C, have a catalog of movies that's intensive with action and cinematography and special effects, and basically, knows that genre. That's why I want you guys to let me know in the comments. If it were up to you, who in the world would you hire to direct the X-Men reboot in the MCU? I'm all ears. Quickly though, I want to also add, in this update, Daniel RPK added that he hears that the plan is still for Hugh Jackman to stay on after Secret Wars to do more quote-unquote Deadpool stuff. And I'm sure you guys saw the Ryan Reynolds quote here real recently, where he said that in his opinion, there is no Deadpool 4. And I think a lot of people misconstrued that to say he doesn't say that he's not going to do another Deadpool movie for the franchise. I think there's another Deadpool and Wolverine movie. People have talked about it. I think what he was basically saying, though, is that his movies going forward would be like, it would be more of an X-Force movie than it would be a Deadpool movie, right? It might be, X-Force featuring Deadpool and Wolverine, or Deadpool and Wolverine X-Force, but he was talking about his movies getting bigger in ensemble, and I think that means specifically him sticking around and doing them, but maybe not ever seeing the title Deadpool 4, Deadpool 5. Not that he's not going to do more Deadpool movies, because let's face it, guys, when you make that much money, you always keep taking more shots at it, regardless of how sacred it is. And if you don't believe me, just look at Logan and then Deadpool and Wolverine. You guys let me know all your thoughts, though, down below. Who you hire in to direct the X-Men movie. I'm all ears, as always. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Okay, so you got to be a sub and leave a comment. If you do, that automatically enters you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway, which is in, like 6 or 7 days for the finale of What If Season 3. All you got to do, again, be a sub, leave a comment on this video, because it's truly random. The more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. And as always, if you like today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places: Instagram, Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. You can also find me on all platforms, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you listen to original music, under the name All Fires. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.